In this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, the guardian of Jupiter, Thunder, and Courage makes her electrifying debut, and the Sailor Senshi group finally has a leader with Sailor Moon. This was a pretty good episode. It's probably my favorite episode of the series thus far, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that we finally got our core group of Sailor Senshi together, and because of that, it looks like the story is finally going to start picking up a little bit. We can probably get away from the whole monster of the week, brand new member, do transformation sequence, rinse and repeat. Hopefully things will get a little more interesting from here on out. However, it is interesting to note that the full team is not together yet. There's still one member missing, and I believe that is Sailor Venus, and she is shown in the intro of the show, and I'm kind of wondering why Luna has just decided at this point that Sailor Moon should become the leader. Maybe she isn't even aware of Sailor Venus yet, or even that she should be a part of the team, but let's get back on track. This is Sailor Jupiter's episode, and she is actually one of the coolest members of the group. Her name is Mako, and Mako is essentially the muscles of the group. She's the tallest, she's the most intimidating, and everybody just seems to be freaked out by this cute-looking Japanese girl, which completely confounds me, and a lot of that does have to do with the fact that she is a new student at Usagi's school, and everybody just, like, sort of puts out these rumors that she got into a huge fight at her old school, and she kicked all sorts of ass. And she just comes across as very quiet and intimidating, but she's actually a very girly girl. In fact, that's what really attracts Usagi to her in the first place. And again, I've really ripped on Usagi for being a dumb character, and she is. She's not very smart. I mean, she's just a bubbly, dumb, happy character, but I can't help it how infectious she is, especially when she first interacts with Mako this week. It makes for a lot of really funny scenes, because first, she's just intimidated by her, but then when she sees that she's having a delicious lunch, she has to go over and investigate everything, and it's just a very heartwarming and funny scene. And we also get our first clue as to how Mako is a badass, because they're standing right next to this baseball field, and this baseball is literally about to smack Usagi in the face, and then Mako just catches it bare-fisted, no problems, and ends up throwing the damn thing like an MLB pitcher, which was pretty awesome. It's our first hint to what her actual powers are going to be and how much of an asset she's going to be to the team. But eventually it does go into the old tried-and-true formula. Queen Barrel's goons create a monster, they go after some people, the Sailor Senshi intervene, and eventually it does get to the scene where Sailor Jupiter does transform, and it's awesome. She uses her thunder powers to kick all sorts of ass. The main monster this week is that it's actually this mannequin which has been brought to life. It's basically this evil ghost bride, which actually brainwashes people and it uses them like puppets. And it's kind of weird because there's one guy who's controlling a mannequin, and the mannequin is controlling other people. It's kind of weird and strange how it works, but whatever, you know, Monster of the Week, Power Rangers type stuff. What's also really interesting about Mako's character is the reason that she actually left her school is because she got rejected. She was trying to go out with this one guy at her school that she really liked. He ended up having another girlfriend, and she just felt completely embarrassed by this and decided to start fresh by going to another school. A little drastic, but there's probably a reason for this because she's supposed to be a member of the Sailor Senshi and it's all destiny and all that jazz. But whatever, let's just see some mannequins get exploded with thunder. That's what we really came for this week, and it was awesome. And so it looks like we got our core group together, and we have 4 completely different types of characters, which is great. That's the best thing about the Sailor Senshi. They are balanced. When I was watching the original dub on Toonami, they all just sort of seemed like they had the same dumb old personalities. Whereas in the Japanese version, they seem a little more distinct from another. And I haven't watched the Toonami version in some time, but that's just what I remember from the show. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal? Pretty good one. You know, it wasn't perfect, but it was clean, it was consistent, had a lot of funny and heartwarming moments. We got to see the brand new Sailor Jupiter, who is awesome, and now that we got the core team together, we can finally start getting the ball rolling, and that's what I want to see happening. I want to know what's up with this whole legendary silver crystal. Why is this thing the Deus Ex Machina for this show? Another thing that I thought was kind of inadvertently funny, and I mentioned it in some of my previous reviews, is Tuxedo Mask. I love how creepily he's always watching things, and I love when someone notices him. He just can't run away. He always has to do the cheesy Dracula Kate thing and just run away, and it's just... I bursted out laughing at the end when he finally did it. It's like, why'd you even have to do that? They totally saw you. They're gonna notice a guy in a tuxedo and top hat wearing a mask at the top of a building in a very well-lit Japanese street. I don't know. It's just strange stuff. Like I said, though, my favorite thing so far about the series is actually the dynamic between each member of the Sailor Senshi because they're so different from another, and they actually complement each other in some senses. And I just think that's really cool. It's kind of like, you know, any other, you know, Power Ranger show, or even, I can't believe I'm making this comparison, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, they're all brothers, and they all have very huge similarities in the fact that they're big mutant turtles and shit, but their personalities are so different from one another and distinctive, and yet they all complement each other, and that's what allows them to work as a team. And I'm kind of interested to see how this whole Sailor Venus thing is going to play out, like why she's not in the group yet, or like, from what I remember, and spoiler alert if I am spoiling anything, and this is just from my own blind memory of what the show is about, supposedly Sailor Venus already exists. Like, she's already been around, she already has her powers and everything, she just hasn't met the group yet. So that's why I'm really interested in seeing, like, what her powers are going to be, because she's already, like, knowing how to do all that stuff. And I don't know, I think it just sort of, like, break the dynamic of the group, because we already have a blonde. Do we really need another one? But that's just a minor nitpick from me. Otherwise, just a pretty fun, goofy episode with a lot of action-packed moments, pretty good and clean, consistent animation, some music cues which are surprisingly awesome, and some surprisingly creepy imagery. That scene where that one dude who was working at the arcade looked across the street, and he saw that bride there, and then the lights flickered for a second, and her eyes were red? You'll shit your pants when you see that! I didn't expect to see creepy shit like that in Sailor Moon. Otherwise, I like this episode. Not perfect, not great, but still really entertaining, especially if you're a fan of the original Sailor Moon manga. So, I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Pretty fun stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review today. Before you leave, make sure and tell me what you thought about this week's episode, and make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links for all that stuff in the description box below.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.